back to October. Today I am finishing off the Disney Mickey and Friends hat tutorial with the couples tutorial. So last week or on Wednesday we showed you guys how you guys could do the best friends, which also could go as couples too, which would be adorable. But today I wanted to specialize in the couples and show you guys how we painted these hats. These are really super easy, so let's just get going. And they're super cheap because these hats are like $3, not even, at Walmart. So let's get going. Super cheesy, super easy and cheap. That's not a word I want to add to my vocabulary. I want to keep that one out because cheesy is not what we do on this channel. So let's get going. Alright guys, for Mickey and Minnie, I'm just going to do like we've been doing with some of my hat ears by cutting off some of these Mickey ears that you can find for pretty inexpensive. And then I'm just going to paint the hat the way that I want it to look. So I'm just going to take a pencil and draw out Mickey's eyes. And this is just kind of like a long U shape. And the pencils are nice because you can paint over them and you can also see where exactly you want to paint before you do that. So this is how I'm going to do all of the characters, by just starting to sketch out their eyes, working my way out, and you can use the line going right down the center of the hat to help guide your drawing, just to make sure everything is symmetrical. So if it gets close to the dot on one side, it should get that close to the dot on the other side. So for Minnie Mouse, she's going to need eyelashes, but for Mickey Mouse, he doesn't. So then I'm just going to take some white paint and some brown paint and mix that together to make their lighter skin colored kind of face that they have. So I'm just going to go ahead and paint all of that where it was on Mickey Mouse, and I just keep a picture of Mickey Mouse handy on my phone right next to me so I can just kind of reference back to that as I paint. And I'm just going to fill him in nice and good. I'm using acrylic paint, usually Apple Barrel or Martha Stewart is my favorite, and they're not too expensive, so I like to keep them in all of the primary colors. And I also have a video on how to mix colors if you don't want to spend too much money on paint colors. So we're just going to make sure that this is nice and cleaned up, and then we're going to go in and paint the rest of it. So once we have all this nice and all the lines pretty good, we're going to go in with our white and paint the whites of his eyes. So just take your time around where the colors go together and just make sure that your lines are nice and smooth, and then work your way all through that. And then we're just going to glue our ears on by hot gluing onto the ears that we cut off, and then just sticking it right on that little spot between the first line or it's the second line and the third line. And then Minnie Mouse is exactly the same, except we're just going to add some eyelashes and we're going to put a bow on the top of her head. So I also went in and drew their noses, which you can do this for Mickey Mouse too if you think that you like this better. But I wanted it to look like her nose kind of popped up, so I just did kind of a half circle in black. And once your paint is dry, you can go over any mess ups with black if you think that that looks better too, just to clean up anything that you've done that you might have made a mistake. Then I'm just using red and white polka dot ribbon to create her bow, and I'm using this kind of like think like the awareness ribbons. You do that and then you bring it close to the center of the back, and then you cinch it kind of together. And then I usually use a rubber band for this part because it makes life a lot easier, or you can tie a ribbon like this so that it holds it all together. And then once it's tied, you can snip off the little ends and hot glue it onto your hat. You can do it on the side or the center depending on how you like it. I like it both, just depending on the day, but I really liked it on the sides this time. Now I'm going to take a Sharpie and just go in and draw all my lines, and you can do this on Mickey Mouse as well if you want to make sure that his eyes pop a lot. And I realized that that was what I was missing when I was done. So if there's any little extra parts that you find that aren't exactly how you want them, just take your Sharpie and redraw them back on. Alright, for Donald and Daisy, we're going to start with some yellow paint, and we're just going to paint the entire bill of both of their hats because they are ducks and we want to use the bill to be kind of like their duck bill. So once their bill's completely covered in yellow paint, we're going to let that dry, and then we're going to go on to all of their eyes. If you make a mistake, just go in with the same color paint as the hat and fix it once it's dry as well. So then we're going to need some blue paint for his eyes, and we're going to sketch his eyes just like we did Mickey's, except Donald's eyes don't come down to a smaller point. They're just kind of like a half oval, and they don't get any closer together at the bottom, if that makes sense. So now I'm going to draw or paint the entire thing blue, leaving his pupil ready for some black paint, unless you want to do a layer, but I like to just not waste paint, so I like to draw the pupil first. Or I didn't, actually, now that I look at it again. And then I'm just going to take Sharpie this time once the paint is completely dry and outline the eyes. And you can draw the pupil with the Sharpie if you'd like. And his pupils are more like a circle, not like the same shape as Mickey's. And then Daisy's eyes are a little bit more feminine, and they're shaped a little bit more like Mickey and Minnie's eyes. They're kind of that oval shape that goes to kind of a tapered closer together at the bottom. And then she also has eyelids, eyelashes, and her pupils are also the same. They kind of they do the same thing as Mickey and Minnie's. So the same thing that you did with that, you're going to do with that, except we're going to put one little eyelid on the top, which is purple because she wears some eyeshadow. So we're going to make sure that we don't forget that little part. So paint that up and then let her dry, and then we're going to do a circle because she kind of has a little shine in her pupil. So I'm just going to use the Sharpie to fill this in, and you'll notice that it takes a couple coats for the Sharpie to bleed all the way through into the hat, but a couple coats and it's good to go. It's just as good as black paint, and I like to use the Sharpie because I have more control with it, especially working on a white hat. I don't want to make too many mistakes. So just go ahead and trace the eyelid and the eye, and then draw on your eyelashes. That's what they're called. Just make sure they come down a little bit and then flare up, and that's what helps make them look a little bit more three-dimensional. So then just go cover all the little pieces that need a little second coat, and then you're good to go. We're going to do the same thing that we did with Minnie Mouse's hair by putting a bow in. We're just going to use a purple bow, and actually she wears a pink bow, but I have really bad color memory, and I remembered her shirt as purple and I remembered her shirt as pink and her hat as purple, or her hair is purple, but realistically she has a pink bow and she wears a purple shirt. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so then once that's on, you could add feathers to the top, or you could just leave it like this if you like it, and you've got Donald and Daisy.